wonder if it works now. Hello. Oh yeah, it's not lagging at all. Sorry all, I just have to check something, which is if I've gone live on the YouTubes. My YouTube is a little bit dumb, but I think I've gone live on Twitch at least. Okay, well, welcome to the stream. And my name is the Space Toast. I am working on building a new world, and you can see it on your screen. It's called Angorexia. This is part of a city that I am drawing currently, and it's a part of the world where it's kind of like a fallen city, as you have it in fantasy. And I'll be working with castle pencil colors here. As you can see, they're a pretty good set. You can get them for fairly cheap compared to the Faber-Castell ones, but you know, they should be pretty good. But they blend really well, as you can see. The part one was on my YouTubes, and it is kind of halfway done. Mostly because I tend to, when I stick to a project, I tend to kind of go overboard if I'm actually doing it. Otherwise, I can end up procrastinating a lot. So this is a view of the city from a faraway distance. This is our foreground right here. This is where we're looking at the city from. This is kind of like a tree trunk. This looks like a kind of like a elvish kind of a deal, but it's more so a dwarvish color as well as architecture inspired, but it's more of a tree trunk or a tree root. I hope that makes sense. But I kind of wanted to make the city look like that it's a part of nature. It used to be very, you know, completely engrossed with nature, and it used to be part of nature. And yeah. Um, uh, I'm going to be working on the title right now. I got these three cool pens. They are Staedtler pigment liners. I've never worked with Staedtler liners before, but I have worked with Staedtler colored pencils, the kinds that you can sort of make into watercolor pencils. So as you can see, we're pretty far ahead in the actual drawing and so on. So, you know, I'll just be adding more context to the world as I go painting. I guess streaming makes me a little bit nervous, but it's okay because I'm kind of doing it as a hobby, and you know, it's nice. It's pretty good. Oh, I need to check my stream tags. Hold on. It's kind of dumb. I need to check the stream manager. Well, I can't do that right now. Well, I can't be bothered by that right now either. So, if you're watching the stream, hello and welcome. Hello and welcome. I can hear myself in the stream. Okay, great. And let's get into it. I kind of wanted to start with the 0.05 liner right here. We're going to be working on the title today. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and start lining that up real quick. Just over the initial line. So, oh hi, Doremi. How are you doing today? Today we're working on a fantasy world that I'm creating. The world is not called Angorexia. The city is a part of this world, but you know, that's how it goes. You create small bits and pieces of the city, and the world starts coming together. So I was trying to check the alert system because it goes really loudly in my ear if somebody's chatting. Maybe I'll check that for the next stream. So, since this city architecture is inspired a lot by nature, the actual largest spire of the building that we see in the center here is kind of like a twisted tree trunk. And the rest of the buildings, as you can see right here in the foreground, are sort of like buds or petals or, kind of like small plants, fruit things. So it really kind of works in with the whole theme of this was a really engraved in nature kind of a place. So we're just gonna clean up the scroll right here and make sure the ends connect. And I'm just gonna go over the title. I know I added a little bit extra, but I tend to add more flair to my I know I kind of strayed away from the pencil that I originally had, but I feel like this way looks much cooler. Also, this world is my creation, so I don't think we're gonna be too mad about how that looks. So now that the base is done a little bit, you know, we can start in adding some more highlights and details. So sort of make this look like calligraphy a little bit. I don't really have any experience doing calligraphy, so I'm just gonna add in thicker strokes where it makes sense to me using like a digital pen. This pen is obviously not digital, but it is easier if I envision it being like a Procreate pen, because I know where the strokes will start and where they will end. So if any one of you watching or anybody tunes in that has a question about rendering, about sort of blending colors together, then please feel free to ask along. I don't know why I call this city Angorexia, but I feel like that's what this city should be called. It's like a very old, fallen city with like possibly elves. I haven't really decided what kind of creatures used to live here, but maybe elves. I think elves are the closest to nature, I think. This is a really good, like, sketch book. I wouldn't, like, it's kind of like a diary or a journal that I got from when I was in Germany. Um, and it's thicker than most paper, so it doesn't really bleed onto other paper. I wanted to use it for sort of watercolor as well, but I think this is pretty good for now. I've started in this sketchbook with mostly colored pencil. So I kind of want to keep with the colored pencil theme. Oh, that kind of looked like a leaf. That's cool. Maybe I should lean into that. These kind of really cool things happen when you start just painting and drawing. You can improvise and add meaning to whatever you feel like. And it turns out sometimes being really beautiful. Sometimes it turns out to look like meh, but you know, sometimes it's really like a cool, happy accident. So I think that's the title done. I'm gonna let it dry a little bit, but I'm gonna add some details with cross hatching. Just here. Very finely. Also, I tend to take time with my art a little bit nowadays because I got nowhere else to go. And mostly because I really like doing art, so it's fine. And we're gonna add some details to the scroll right here. I'm adding like a dotted border because I think that looks cool and medieval. Kind of keeping away from the title. And I think that's pretty cool. I think I'll add more detail with colored pencils, but I think that's pretty good for the liner for now. If I want to add more detail later, I can obviously come back and polish this up. But we can start erasing part of the title that is just colored pencil, so we should be pretty good. It dries almost immediately, so you don't really need to wait for it to dry, but it's always good to give it a second before you think that it can switch. But yeah, it's pretty dry. Didn't bleed on to the next page, so it's pretty good to go. How's your day going, Dormy? Are you having a nice Wednesday today? So, colors I'm going to be adding to add more flair to the title here is this tangerine color, very lightly, very softly, and this primrose yellow, and a little bit of the ochre yellow, or the cad yellow actually. Yeah. So with very light handwork, and obviously remove any traces of that pencil that you see across your title. You can obviously go back and make the title a little more cleaner, but this is good for now. So very lightly, I kind of wanted to have that tan sort of like scroll color that it normally does. The music is like really epic in my ears. Like I'm going on an adventure. Which it is. All drawing is an adventure. The cool thing about this journal that it picks up like the grain from the bottom of the page really well. I've been using Strathmore Sketch to do colored pencil work as well, but it doesn't have quite the payoff of this paper. I don't even know what grain this paper is, but it's been pretty nice to blend on thus far. It's been better than Strathmore even somehow. Kind of want to try doing like watercolor on it to see if it bleeds or scrunches the paper at all. Just maybe have like an experiment, because if it doesn't, then that's pretty good. So with watercolors, you really do want to have a thicker paper. If you go on Reddit and you check a lot of threads of other artists that have been, doing watercolor for a while, and as a student, I used to draw in school. I didn't go to especially art school for this, but I just used to draw a lot in school when I was in school, like high school. But when I was in high school, I didn't recognize that the paper shouldn't warp or, bend with the kind of paint that you're putting on the paper. So I thought the paper was supposed to warp, but no, it's not. So you just kind of want to get cotton paper or any kind of cotton, highly absorbent material so that you don't end up ruining your painting, so to speak. Me personally, I think paper warping adds a certain charm, but not that good of a charm, so, you don't really want wobbly paintings. I just kind of want to define the edges of this. And I really need the darker ochre yellow. So I have the yellow ochre light. To kind of sharpen that pencil a little bit. I hope you're having a lovely day, no matter where you are. Lovely days are really hard to come by nowadays. So, if you are, then I'm happy for you. And it's really around the edges that I want to add a lot of darkness. And I don't really want to go outside of the edges. Like, you can work your way into the center, but make sure that it's mostly near the edges. Because that's how scrolls be. Maybe around the bottom here, a little bit. And I'm going with a really, really light hand and adding more interest, so to speak. So I have this Chinese orange. I don't know why it's called that. And I have like a testing paper from like one of the previous drawings that I was doing. Here's a sneak peek to all of the other stuff that I've done. Some Harry Potter. I kind of left this page empty for more of these continuations, but it's fine. Chinese orange will show up like this, maybe a little bit darker. It's always good to have like a test swatch like this, so if you forget what your colors look like, then you can obviously test them. I need a more of a burnt umber color, but maybe sepia. Yeah, I think that's dark enough for the edges of the Angorexia. So we're gonna go really heavy-handed over here. I'm gonna add a little bit more darker, like burnt color over there. But this is really just for the edges. Pencil art is really time-consuming compared to other mediums, but it has a really nice payoff if you do put a lot of time into it. Do you see how that makes that really just kind of pop on the page? I really want those gradients working in your favor. And now I'm gonna go back with our base colors and just kind of try to blend the whole thing together. Maybe try to put pressure. It's completely fine. But make sure to blend the lights with darks at all times. Because otherwise they're just gonna stand out and look kind of funky. And this is our mid. Just the cad yellow. It's really gonna work in with that. Look at that. That looks really cool. Sometimes I wish like we had better. That really scares me. Every time I have another chat in the thing, it really scares me. But hello. Hi, I am a painter. Hi. I have a really loud alert noise, and that made me jump in my chair a little bit. Hello, welcome to the stream. How are you doing today? We're working on the title a little bit right now, so it should look really sort of stood out from the building, so to speak. And go ahead and clean up all of those edges that you don't want. Can't believe it. I've been drawing for several years of my life and I still cannot stay within the edges. Thank you. I think that it looks really cool too. How is your day going today? Every time anybody's gonna pop in the chat, I'm going to get scared because it's really loud in my ears. It just goes whoop. Maybe I can fix that. Hold up. I can see a font size and I can see well, I don't have the option for that, but it's fine, I guess. Happens. Good, nice. Well, thank you so much. And now that we're done with the title, I'll go fix it up later because it looks a little bit blended in with the background. So after I'm done with the painting completely, I'll go with the 0.08 and really make that pop on the title. But let's go and work on the foreground. So the foreground can look really cool. And the colors we really need are the ones that we were working with previously. So I'm just gonna pull them out right here on the screen. I know it's a lot of colors and it looks really intimidating, but this is just me kind of playing with the colors. It's completely fine. You can use as many or as little colors that you want. I used to have a set that was only 12 pencil colors at that one point of time, and we used to mix all kinds of colors to create new colors. It really is about playing with what you have and just kind of having fun. So last time we kind of finished with working on this kind of cliff area. So I'm just gonna add some interest on that with this very dark green that I have. Just so it has a little bit of, you know, just that little bit of edge. or spice. You gotta add spice to your life, to your food, and to your. That was really scary. Oh, it's like one of those messages said. I kind of want to delete that message. Oh well, I'll leave it in for now. It's fine. So, great. Now we're gonna be working on the foreground here as well. So, since the foreground is really, really light, go in with the really light color. The more you're closer to the foreground, the more, I think, colors get brighter as you speak. I know it looks really bright in the background right there, but I kind of wanted to have like a more, you know, light is playing around the background kind of a feel. So, just gonna cover I'm just gonna cover this foreground with some green. The very beige green that I have, it's called Leaf Green Light. I don't know if any of these words make any sense to, you know, buying colors in the future, but sometimes they do. Sometimes they're transferable, like Cad Yellow is a color that's pretty easy to reference across a lot of places. So yeah, kind of want to add a bunch of the lemon yellow on this area as well, so that we know that the front is really, really, really bright. I will probably add like some grass or bushes here to make it like really, really pop. But this is good. For now, you really want to lay in a base color before you move on to anything else. And I've done that with the background here and the foreground here. Let's do that for the tree here as well. I'm just gonna take the yellow ochre light and really just kind of start defining where the tree trunks are just kind of merging in with the ground. And we can go in and we can add that solid brown color later. I'm just adding yellow ochre light for sort of like a, this is our highlight color. Since the light, and if you've seen the first episode, it's coming in from here. My light source is kind of around here. So the sun is kind of around here. So the tree is gonna be lighter here, but it's okay to have it a little bit darker down here. So light source will dissipate equally across the page, you know. You can have that really, really, really stark contrast. So I'm just gonna go ahead and erase a little bit of that area here, since the light source is here. And go ahead and re-add some of that lemon yellow. There are no mistakes when you're coming to making your own art. It's just a journey. It's okay to erase things. It's okay to add more things. It's okay to just kind of live with your painting, because it's more relaxing that way. It's much more relaxing if you just sit back and enjoy the whole process. Don't think about putting out like, oh, I have to do like 5 or 10 paintings in a day. It's very stressful for me. I know some people that go to school for drawing and so on. They tend to have like a lot of stress about drawing. But when you're really drawing for leisure, kind of wanna sit back, relax, enjoy the process of painting. Even if you mess up, it's okay. I know some people also have like a lot of anxiety when it comes to putting marks on a new sketchbook. Trust me, I have those too. Like when I got this sketchbook, I was like, oh my god, it's so pretty and the paper is so nice. I really don't want to mess up anything that I put into this sketchbook. But I have messed up on this sketchbook. It's completely fine. It's all a journey, and we need to kind of, relax with the kind of paintings that we do. So in this area, I'm just gonna add the leaf green middle color as just kind of my transition color from one to the next. Look at that. It all blends over really, really nicely. I'm just gonna pull this here so that you can see. Sorry, that was out of the frame a little bit. That's completely fine. You can have fun and really enjoy this process. So now this whole area, this whole area is covered. So we can go ahead and start working on this tree trunk right here. So I need a really, really light brown, which I think we can get our Chinese orange. But I really want like a burnt umber, like an oak brown, kind of. The Van Dyke brown and cinnamon, I think, are better choices. This one tends to lean a little bit towards more of the reds. So we're not going to stick with that. We're going to stick with like this color palette. So, yeah. And I'm going to take the cinnamon color. And that's my middle color. So the light is coming from this way and it's refracting. So you're gonna only be able to see like a few details along, like let's say this line on the tree. You're not gonna be able to see a lot of the details across the whole tree because it's getting covered in shadows. So let's work from dark to light in this case. I usually work from light to dark, but I kind of want to cover the whole dark space with the cinnamon, so it at least has the undertone of the cinnamon. So cinnamon will be the lightest shade in the dark area, and the darkest shade, or the second darkest shade in the light area. Just kind of like transitioning between both of them. I'm getting a bit crowded on my table, I apologize. Hey, look at that. And blend it out real nice. And now we kind of want to build the middle colors out from the lighter to the darker. I think I need to sharpen this pencil up. If you like this content, please feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel or my Twitch channel, or follow my Twitch channel because I feel like I want to be doing more of... There's a lot of sunlight coming in from my window. I'm just gonna move that away a little bit. Earlier I was staying in a place that did not get a lot of sun, so any sun I do get, I'm happy about. Because you really do need the sun to be happy in life, somehow. It is kind of related to, you know, happiness and the way your mood shifts across seasons. How is the weather like where you're at? Because it's unseasonably warm where I'm at. It shouldn't be this warm. In fact, it's quite concerning that it's this warm. Gonna take more of that cinnamon. I think I need to sharpen this pencil up right here. I think I need a little bit more sharpening. Okay. I'm getting like a rainbow across my setup. Pretty cool. Oh god. My color broke. Oh no. That's a suck. I think that's good. And I'm taking it as like a flat, like this motion, so that I can really blend the cinnamon with the front of the tree. I feel like I want to finish this painting today and be proud that I actually made something beautiful today. I feel like it's beautiful. Do you think that that's beautiful? I feel like this painting is beautiful. I know it's just a tree trunk, but, you know, it is our vantage point, so it's pretty nice. Okay, and now we're gonna take the Van Dyke Brown and just kind of start laying it down in the darker area. Just sort of getting a feel of what that looks like. See how quickly that shows up here? Look at that. That area is already much darker than everything else. I wonder if it's hidden by the chat. Look at that. Compared to this. So now let's just have fun shading. Kind of moving my whole hand and keeping the pressure even. I don't know. Like, you can really wear down your hand by doing like the wrist motion. I think the wrist motion also may be changing the kind of pressure that you're putting on your pencil. But this method really doesn't. And if it's hurting your hand, then you can put like a paper underneath your hand right here. And you can just glide along. That. Now we have a nice base gradation on this area. Some more on the roots, maybe. I've always drawn roots this way. I know trees don't necessarily have to have visible roots, but for some reason, I have always drawn it this way. Make sure to follow all of the curves of the winding tree, so you, if you will. Okay, that was getting a bit too bright on the stream. I hope I'm audible. Sorry, my ear got itchy. There we have it. That's great. Okay, we have a base for the tree now. We have a base for the bottom. My music has stopped for some reason. Okay, there we go. I fixed it. And now we want to start adding some details to the tree trunk. So I'm gonna take sepia color, which is like a nice middle color. Just start adding a few lines in the darker section. They won't be visible quite a bit, but you know, they're kind of like guidelines for us to work with as a tree is, you know. Trees have lines in them. They have quite a few lines, actually. So if you feel like your tree bark has a lot of lines or scales in it, just go ahead and add some. I don't need to be worried about details too much at this point, but some lines showing up is always nice. We're working with a middle shade like sepia here so that I can sort of add definition to the tree and work with it. And now, once I'm happy with the middle ground lines, I can take my darker color, which is the Van Dyke brown, and add in lines in the deeper area. It's kind of like a gradual process. Also, make sure to shade it a little bit as you're adding lines, because sometimes trees have like really dark trunks and, you know, darker where the wood dips. So it's like a really nice contrasty kind of a thing to do. Look at that. I think that looks pretty cool. And blend in some of the lines that we added with the sepia with the darker color as well, so it has some interest to it. Kind of want to have this color be this area be completely blocked off by like the sunlight that's hitting it. So we can go ahead and make that like really dark. Yeah. And kind of work outward the kind of darkness that you're playing with. I think it can be pretty dark here as well because it's completely hidden and in the shadows, so it's completely fine. And now you have an interesting looking tree. Go ahead and add like the mid-grounds again for the tree to make it really pop. And trees are not just brown, so feel free to take some like mid-grade green colors. So let's say I'm gonna take this cad green and I'm gonna add some interest. And what this will do is really give it that tree is, you know, kind of having some moss grow on it It's kind of really working with nature here. It's been neglected. Or just kind of lived in nature, so to speak, for a very long time. And humans haven't disturbed it, so it's become like this really nice mossy tree. And I really like really nice mossy trees. I live in a city, so I don't really see trees that are just kind of getting overgrown by nature. I was visiting my family in Germany, and they live in kind of like very remote space. So it was really nice to see all of these untouched trees and just sort of have them see and live in nature. So, you know, we had kind of like a very stark contrast with what I have in where I live in the city versus what I have, you know, seen over there. Kind of need to check something. I'm taking a break. Okay. Alright, I wanted my camera to focus. Okay. Now that we have interest on the tree, I'm just gonna go ahead and take this really, really dark green and add in some interest over here. So that it's like really lived in. Because you really want to see trees just kind of thriving and doing their own thing in nature, you know? Look at that. You have like all sorts of gradations going. And you can also grab, I think I have a more dark brown, which is the burnt umber. I'm just gonna take that and add a bit more darkness, like real darkness, to these areas here. And then go ahead with the chrome green and add even more darkness. Yeah, I have the chrome green, and then I also have another green that is super, super oxide of chrome that is super dark. It shows up really beautifully. It mixes it in with browns, and it does its own thing. It's really, really some beautiful, beautiful foliage. And I think somehow it's darker than my chrome green here. They're kind of similar, but this oxide of chrome is really distinctly olive, as you can see. So it merges in with browns really well. And look at that. And now we have a really interesting looking fruit. Okay, and now I'm going to work on the foreground, sort of this area. So it can have some grass, it can have some flowers, maybe some yellow flowers or something. Something cool that can happen, possibly. I'm gonna take my eraser and erase a little bit of this so it has a jagged nature all throughout. Then I want to have these not blend into each other, but sort of want to have some standout moments over here. That looks like really overgrown grass. These are obviously not on the same plane, so we really want to differentiate them. Gonna take the leaf green middle and just gonna start laying down some grass notes here. Like so. I'm gonna erase a little bit more of that background I had created so that it really doesn't interfere with the foreground. I know right now it looks like the same color, but it's gonna come together. Ah! My pencil colors keep breaking. Maybe I'm putting too much pressure on them. Or maybe they're just kind of going brittle. That does happen to color pencils over time if they're not quite used for a very long time. There we go. Look at that. I didn't know that I wanted to put grass down here. So, went ahead and I erased some. Yeah, I'm gonna kind of add some of that yellow just to really brighten it up. This is gonna stand out pretty quick because I'm going from dark to light. A little bit of light here because of the sun. So this area is gonna be like really bright. And then the rest of them can be dark. Okay, I'm gonna take the same color. Just gonna blend that in. Make sure not to put too much pressure because then you will not have a lot of surface area to work with. You want that really rich blending like we have here. Okay. Now I'm gonna take a little bit of a darker green, which is the Castle Green. I think that's their brand color. And just kind of sort of really work in the grass. Just add strokes wherever grass makes sense to you. I'm going to be working with varying strokes of green. Make sure to flick your hand as you're doing the grass, because it really gives it that nice grass kind of a flick. Okay. And now I'm gonna grab. Didn't pick up any leaf greens. I found this color, like the name, really funny, so I tend to use it more. They also have the deep green, but this one's called the hooker's green. Don't know why. So that's the color of this, and that's the color of the castle, deep green. I think I can do the deep green for like the ground, maybe? I'm kind of trying to get rid of this shadow thing that's happening. Okay, that's much better. Okay, and now this is really gonna start defining the leaves with the grass. The hooker's green is really hooking to that color. Puns. And I want to use a little less of the hooker's green in the areas that, you know, we know that it's not gonna have a lot of darkness. Okay, I think that looks pretty cool. Now I'm gonna add more definition near the tree trunk. So anytime you're working with grass, just make sure you just kind of blend it out of the ground as well. Otherwise, it looks like really spindly, like here. I know I added that for now, but that's like an indication. It's not like the final product. But this is more of like a final, so, you know, just have fun with it. Wherever there's packed grass, there will be just sort of like a darker earth underneath it. And I'm just using this to make like shadows between the leaves, not the leaves themselves. Grass can end up looking a bit like hair. That's completely fine because it just, even like very fine grass can look like very fine or thick hair. You know, it can look nice. I haven't really worked with like different kinds of grass, so this is like mostly the indentation of grass in my brain. That this shape is what grass looks like, so to speak. And we're just really having fun here. I hope you're having fun in whatever you're doing. We really want to play with the dark and the light almost at all times because it's fun. Also, make sure that you add shadows underneath the tree trunk. Well, if you want to make like a buried tree trunk, that's completely fine too. So the area near the tree trunk will be really, really dark. And just keep having fun, adding more and more grass, make it more vibrant. Just add color to your world. My world right now looks really gray, so it's fine if I add some color. With all these buildings that people keep making that look like bricks, the world really needs some interesting architecture or just more trees. Because who doesn't like trees? Look at that. We have a very filled foreground. I'm gonna take some of the cad green here and add a little bit more, just some more texture to the grass here. Because cad green is closer to the greens that I know of that are more yellowish green. Okay, awesome. So I'm just gonna add some more interest and really blend it with the background here. Look at that. Some parts of the painting are nice and bright, and some are dark and mysterious. So whenever you're closer to finishing one area, just make sure all of those whites have some inklings of color in them. Can be the color that you're working with, which is like the mid-ground color, or a highlight color, just to add some interest. So I'm just gonna have some fun having some highlight color and just really filling out these spaces into creating this beautiful foreground. That it really, really blends in with the rest of the background. Also, feel free to change angles, but that's really fun. Look at that. Creates interest immediately with the background. And now it really stands apart from what we have in the back over here. Being really heavy-handed here. Just kind of adding more color. It's getting really, really hot at my room because it's really hot outside. I'm gonna go back to the castle green, add in a little bit more green here, and just really make these pop. so that they kind of work in the same ecosystem. Grass works together with each other. It really doesn't do, you know, its own thing. Sometimes it does, but you would rarely see grass that is standing out from a different patch of grass elsewhere. So they all should look like they've come from the same family, so to speak. And look at that. The mid-ground color really ties the whole thing together. And voila! So neat. I'm just gonna take a little bit of the chrome green and add a little bit more interest over here where it's really, really, really dark. Yeah, you gotta have shadows under the tree. It would be really, really, really dark. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with where the foreground's at right now. So let's work at the sky right here. I'm gonna put away all of my greens and my browns. I'm gonna add some more browns later to the painting. We're gonna work with some very light blues. And do I want pink in my sky? Not really. But now let's work with a very clear blue sky. So I'm gonna grab some random. It's also good. And this will be my, I think, darkest color. I think that might be a bit too dark. I think this might be my darkest color. Okay, great. So we have these 5. I'm just gonna swatch test to do which is the lightest one. I think I'm gonna skip this one because it's teal, so it's more green than anything. Maybe to add a little bit of interest on the sky, but I think this is my base color. Yeah, the cobalt turquoise. My mid color is cerulean blue light, so it's like a beautiful blue. And my shadows are sky blue, which is this really dark blue, and the deepest shadow, which is very deep, Delft blue. Yeah, I think I'm happy with those. So I'm gonna just add a couple of floaters in the air and just kind of outline them with, you know, just kind of like so. Also, this is my sky, so I don't really have rules to follow that it looks like really realistic in the sky. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so the negative space over here, I'm just gonna fill that with color real quick so that it makes sense where my clouds live. think I'm pretty happy with that. Just kind of have that right here. Wherever. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't need to have rules. There are no rules when you do art. It's fine. I used to be under the impression that my paintings have to be super perfect, but I don't think that that's the case. You're okay with making mistakes across your canvas, and it looks beautiful most of the time. I think blending in with the sky and the title would be cool, so I'm just gonna take it up here. Just going in a swivelly motion. And I'm going really light-handed and just coloring in where there are not clouds. So clear sky, color it in. Clouds, just kind of leave them white. Okay, now I have a basic layout of the clouds ready. Kind of need some water. I'm getting really thirsty. Okay, now we're gonna take that. Is this my middle ground? My middle ground is this sky. Don't I have a lighter blue than this? Apparently not. This is our lightest blue. Maybe I'll just add a couple of white streaks. As like the lighter blender color. I know it doesn't look like I'm doing anything, but white wouldn't show up on white, would it? Okay, now I'm gonna take the cerulean blue light. I kind of want to sharpen it a little bit because it's kind of, it has a really tiny nib. Can be really, really intense in the sky, so let's just be careful. Let's go shadows and up. Anywhere where I want to preserve more of the lighter color, just kind of want to drop in whispers of color so that it doesn't look like I've completely bombarded this thing with blue. The top of the sky can be a little darker as well. Just some whispers of color. It's fine. I know the sun is kind of like here, but it's behind the tree, so I'm not too worried about drawing the sun right now. In my world, I can't be bothered to draw the sun. It's fine. Okay, I think that that's a pretty good indication. I'll go ahead and take the teal green and just add some areas of interest. Just wherever. Wherever I feel like I want to make sense of the sky a little bit green. The sky can be. Just settle it. Or maybe it's like an alien sky where it is always green anyway. Wherever you feel like it makes sense in your world, just add color. It's fine. I know I keep saying these kind of like proverby things. It's fine. It's also me giving more context to myself that it's fine. That's also a thing. I'm gonna be turning on the cooling in my... Perfect. It got really hot in my room, so I need to turn on the cooling a little bit. We can just jump right in. I feel like this world is turning out to be really beautiful. And I always love places that are just kind of taken over by nature. I think that's my personal favorite flavor of relaxation. My room is also full of plants, so I guess that makes sense. And one of my favorite colors is green. Could you tell? Could you? So, yeah, very cool. I'm gonna go back to the softest blue I have, which is the cobalt turquoise. Is that really the softest blue I have? Yeah, looks like it. Okay. And I'm gonna refine here some accents. The shape of my clouds. And just kind of really blend that in with the blue sky. Speaking of blue sky, I sometimes post there. Please consider dropping a follow or something. Look at that. I'm gonna be adding some really tiny whispers of the blue as my shadow for the clouds. So wherever it makes sense, just add a shadow to the clouds as well. I feel like that looks cool. Yeah. I want to add some pink to the clouds. And I will in a second. Just want to keep completing the highlights on this one. It's really, really small highlights. Okay. Okay, I feel like that looks pretty cool. And I'm just gonna go and add more color where it makes sense. The music playing in my ear is really funky, so I'm just gonna change that. Yeah. Like that's more my speed. Like the springy music was just kind of throwing me off. I feel like a lot of my art is inspired by music. Do you think so for yours as well? Okay. I feel like I get really inspired for at least fantasy related stuff when I listen to Skyrim music. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to play Skyrim music on stream, but this is like copyright free tavern music, which is pretty close, I guess. And over here, some more definition, so it doesn't look like it's just like super grainy. I like the grainy look of color pencil, but mostly I just kind of blended it across, as you can see. So, me personally, I like my color pencils blended a lot more. I'm gonna take more of the teal green and add some interest to these clouds. Feel free to erase any mistakes that you think you do. It's completely fine. Okay. I'm gonna go and add some of the yellows and the golden yellow and some of the original tangerine color that I used before for the title. Just to add some flavor to the clouds. Add some spice. It's okay to want to have your clouds completely white, but I just wanted to add some color. Just some. Whispers of color here and there. It's not gonna hurt anyone. Because I like my clouds really vibrant. Okay. And now the blending color, some of the yellow on the top here, just on the crevices of the clouds. Just a little bit. Okay. And now I need the darker color. I think I'm not gonna take the blue as the dark color. Let's make it a little bit more interesting. Let's take a violet. We want this violet. No. A little bit darker, like a purple. Yeah. I think I'm gonna take purple as bottom of the clouds. Just kind of merge that with the sky. I think that looks cool. And the same treatment for the other clouds. Just try dropping in color wherever. That's fine. Me reassuring myself constantly that, you know, it's fine. It's the world I created, and I feel happy in it. I hope you feel happy in it too. I'm just gonna really blend that out with the blue. I feel like this blue is a bit strong, but okay. And always go and erase back some of the ones that we don't want. Also, the eraser in this case also kind of blends it with the background, so that's nice. Okay, and a little bit more shadow here. I hope I'm audible. I don't talk very loudly. I realized, even in real life, people have a difficult time hearing what I'm saying. I'm not a very... Well, oddly enough, you know, I'm loud with my family, but I'm not very loud in real life. Just a whisper of purple here and there. Just gonna remove some of the purple there. I'm just gonna add some purple here, just to create some interest. Because this is the area that's furthest away from the light, so you know, it's okay if it has a little bit of the purple. Okay. No, I just kind of want to add really, really clean lines if I can. I don't know. I like clean lines on clouds. Kind of like cartoony, but you know. Sometimes it's nice to have clean lines on clouds. Ow. Okay. Feel like this is getting somewhere. Now just to reinforce that, this orange clementine color. I don't know, I kind of like these colors blended it together even though they look wrong. They may look wrong to you, but they don't look wrong to me. Okay, and I'm just gonna take the white and just blend in my sky all together. Like, really work that in. Okay. Look at that. It's blending so nicely. White is really one of the best blenders there is for any color out there. You can really lay it on thick on any sort of color and it will do a great job at blending it out. I'm just wondering if this is gonna give me a carpal tunnel. Because I kind of suffer from carpal tunnel. But it's like an occupational hazard at this point, so it's fine. And then we're really, really blending out these lovely floating textures just to kind of get that homogenized. I need to sharpen my white again. You would think at this point I would be done with the painting, but no. Still have some way to go. So this area is just kind of like a barren land. So I kind of wanted to blend that in with this green right here. So erase it some, and then really lay in on the yellow. And really lay in on the ochre here. Okay. I need some really bright yellow, so I'm just gonna use this Naples yellow I was using last time to really brighten up that area. Look at that. That looks good. Okay, now that the farther colors are really muted, kind of want to blend them with white instead of just like the gold yellows and greens here and the really bright greens here, because you really want that muted color. So let's just take the white and go ahead and start adding, well, I wanted to kind of add patches of like green here just to kind of show like the indication of some maybe forest area. So you can just really like add some squiggles, and they may look like, you know, really lush forests, like really, really far away. Oh, and the color that I'm using is the Castle Green Deep. Okay, and maybe some browns in the background, like really light browns. So we're just gonna take the cinnamon, maybe like a brown patch lives here, maybe a brown patch lives here. Who knows? Maybe one lives here. Maybe one lives here, and a couple more here. Okay, I'm gonna take the white and really blend that background out. And make it muted and really homogeneous, laid into each other. So it's like a whisper of a tree here and there, and you can have like an indication that, yeah, there's a lot of like greenery in the background, so to speak. I kind of want to lift my hand off the paper because I feel like I'm picking up some color on my hand. So what white is doing, instead of adding like over here we have like the really golden, and over here we have like the really muted background. So it's like really giving you like the 1, 2, 3 layered perspective. And now after this, the only thing that will be left really is to add details to the main building. With the really blunky music is back. Let's do this song. Okay. Like, I like the plunky music, but it doesn't get me in the mood of the fantasy, you know? It's like more like, haha, hee hee. You really work in the white. And make it. I'm kind of forcing it to blend almost. Blend! You know? And I feel like that looks really cool. And voila! It looks like a really, really cool sort of, you know, fantasy scape. Kind of want to add some white here too. Just mute it a little bit. Fine. And really separate this from the rest. Amazing. Okay, now to work on the details. Oh, there's a straddler here. Which really shouldn't be there. I think I picked it up from the white. And I want to get rid of all the excess so you can see on the white. This kind of sometimes picks up some black or other color, and then it just leaves in random spots here and there on your drawing. Okay, so this is really cool. I kind of want to add a couple of, like, using a pencil. I know it's kind of dangerous to use pencil at this point, but I kind of want to add levels. Let's not use a pencil. Let's use a very mild here. We're gonna use cad yellow. Oh, the problem with that is it's not picking up anything. Let's use a really light brown. I really need a very light brown. Okay, maybe a very light-handed treatment in the sepia. And over here I can add a couple windows. This very mild indication of windows, and you know. There can be a staircase maybe that lives here. And this can be like a, you know, like a flouted building spire, so to speak. So the inside, it can also have a bunch of windows. Okay. And this one, I kind of wanted it to have like a almost a lyre sort of treatment, so kind of like that, like a horn. And I want to cut this and have its own section. Just have fun, you know. Create buildings in weird shapes that don't make sense. It's completely fine. And then the spires, some windows. These are also some windows. I think that looks kind of cool. I feel like this can be like a bigger, like, window space. And this can be more windows. Okay. I feel like I'm pretty happy with that. I'm gonna add in the more details with the darker Van Dyke brown. I think I need my pencil really sharp for this one. Okay. I feel like this, whatever this is playing, this could be like a language. And they could sing this in the halls of this building. I think that would be very cool. Okay, I feel like that looks really cool. I feel like that's one of the cooler things I've drawn. I know I just got really silent detailing, but it's really an enjoyable process. Okay. I feel like that looks really cool. I'm gonna take CAD yellow and make these lines a bit blurry so that they look like they have shadows on their own. Look at that. Easy shadows. Like over here, it took away some color, so I have to re-add it. Okay, and for the final touches, I think I'm gonna go back with the CAD green here and just kind of lay in wherever I think there would be moss. And, you know, rust and so on. I feel like that's really cool. You can really add as much detail as you want to your own drawing. Nobody's stopping you from doing anything. I feel like that green really brought this whole thing together. Look at that. It looks so medievally. I know that's not a word, but it's fine. More moss here. And more moss in the staircase. You know, just because it's more of like unused and really forgotten. And I know I keep saying final touches, but I swear this is the last one. With the oxide of chrome, just to add and reinforce the greens. And also really darken the browns wherever I can. I don't really use black to darken my browns, I use green. Because it creates those really wonderful undertones. You really want this area to be like completely in the darkness. So we can make this as dark as we want. Okay. And I think that about finishes my drawing. I think. Oh my god, I pulled up my microphone. Ah. Okay, did not expect that. Okay, I think that about finishes my drawing here. I'm gonna sign my name. Maybe with the pen that I was using. I'm gonna go back and add more darkening to these areas, but I really want to kind of sign my name to this. So the 0.8, and I'm gonna sign it here. And that's one city done. I hope you enjoyed the whole process of watching me draw this. You know, I didn't expect it to be beautiful like this, and I didn't expect for me to like it and find it so beautiful, but I really do. I think I'm gonna continue on my quest to making more fantasy inspired art, and I think that for 4 hours, I mean, it's been 2 hours on the first day and 2 hours today. It's been a really cool experience, and I feel like I've done and I've accomplished a lot. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna end the stream right now. I'm also really hungry, and yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Also subscribe, please. Thank you.